Our journey has been one of growth. We are excited to be in this town or in this region, but also in this town because of the talented manufacturers we have here and in this area. We also know that we have access, or we need access to more talent, and that's where we are going to look to Dayton, because there is a lot of talent there and there's a lot of technology. That'll be the future of Mid-Mark. The people I know here are loyal, and not just loyal to family and to company, but a lot of them are loyal to the region and to the state of Ohio. We are committed to doing everything we can to keep our manufacturing jobs here. It's a great place, and it was interesting to meet other people from the Dayton region who are saying the same thing. Look, we're going to use Dayton-based suppliers for Dayton-based projects to develop Dayton-based technologies because this is the right area for us. We have in this region great schools. That's really important. We have access to transportation. We have a low cost of living. You can live really well here for not very much money. So I see big things in the future because the base is there, the base is strong, the technology is being built around that foundation. And again, if we can attract and retain that young talent that wants to be values-based, family-based, I think the region can become even stronger. As the coalition gained in strength and gained in successes, I watched that and saw, you know what, there's something here. And it's not just the people individually, it's the networking and the speaking with one voice. Because if we work together, we will grow this region and make it even better. So the coalition has played an important part in my deciding to keep Mid-Mark here and to get to know the region to help grow it. And make the commitment to, we want this region to be better. Because if this region is better, we're all better.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Hoagland, President and CEO of the Dayton Development Coalition. On behalf of our Board of Trustees and staff, it's our privilege to welcome you to the 2011 Dayton Development Coalition annual meeting here at the Benjamin and Marion Schuster Performing Arts Center. Economic development is a team sport requiring the resources and efforts of many to coordinate, achieve positive outcomes. The coalition has had the opportunity to participate as a team member on many initiatives to grow jobs and prosperity in the Dayton region. Every business recruitment project that was located in the Dayton region was a result of a diverse regional team. Our entrepreneurial successes were made possible by the Ohio Third Frontier program, the generous support of our angel investors, and the expertise of subject matter experts and leaders in business. Our advocacy for the Dayton region is fruitful and productive because of the public servants who champion our causes in Columbus and in Washington, D.C. And the growth and expansion of the defense installations witnessed in 2011 were a result of the quality workforce accomplishing the mission, elected officials who understand the importance of our military missions, and the Dayton region community at large. At the heart of the coalition efforts were the dedicated coalition staff and the support of the Board of Trustee members. Today, we celebrate shared successes of 2011 and the promises of 2012. The Dayton Development Coalition is proud to serve the region as a key member of the team dedicated to growing the Dayton region. It's been a successful year. It's been a busy year. We have a lot to report this afternoon and even more to accomplish in 2012. We have a game plan to achieve success for the region, and it will take a team approach more than ever before. Before we dive into the work ahead of us, I have the pleasure to introduce to you a leader who is dedicated to the success of our region and the state, Senator Sherrod Brown. In the past 5 years, Sherrod Brown has served the people of Ohio as our senator, showing us his passion for promoting social justice, encouraging job growth, and fighting for the needs of all citizens. He is a strong advocate for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and the aerospace issues. Senator Brown put together the successful Airbus Supplier Conference held last year in Kettering, promoting the advancement of aerospace jobs in Ohio. Working with the other members of the Dayton Region delegation, Senator Brown was helpful in securing new UAV ground segment missions for Springfield Air National Guard Base and supported legislation aimed at establishing Ohio as a test site for the integrating UAVs in the national airspace. His passion for protecting workers and citizens is demonstrated in his co-sponsorship of the Postal Service Protection Act, which ensures delivery standards for citizens and safeguards the jobs of thousands of postal workers across Ohio, and more importantly, 500 in the Dayton region. Senator Brown sits on the powerful Senate Appropriations Committee, the Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee, the Ethics Committee, and the Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, where he is chairman of the Subcommittee on Financial Institutions and Consumer Protection. Using his position on the Veterans Affairs Committee, he has been a strong advocate for veterans at the Dayton VA. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce Senator Sherrod Brown.
Jeff, thank you, and I so appreciate the partnership that the Dayton Development Coalition with our office, with Congressman Turner's office, who I know is here, and Congressman Austria's office, and all of us have made such a difference in advocating for the city. I remember speaking with Senator Voinovich once on the Senate floor, and former Governor Voinovich, and said how I wish that other communities in the state, and why don't they follow the lead of the DDC in advocating for this community. And as you've grown in your reach in terms of county by county that you've added, and as you've grown in the diversity of everything from the communities to the social service agencies to government to small businesses to large businesses to Wright Pat, and all that you've done has been so very, very impressive. Thank you for that. And Jeff Hoagland, congratulations to you, and you have big shoes to fill with lefties and lefties' predecessors, and thank you for that. I understand a year ago, Governor Kasich spoke to you. Forgive me if I deliver the exact same speech. I today was at Harco, a manufacturing plant right across from the old Moraine plant, and I remember when I look at what's happened in the valley and how the DDC has fought back, and how important it is that we work together to advocate, not just for obviously federal money, but federal policies, everything from the unmanned air vehicles to the VA and the problems that we've had in the Dayton VA as we've turned the corner and begun to make things work a lot better for veterans, a lot better for the workers there, a lot better for the community. And I applaud the efforts of so many of you who have been involved in the VA in Dayton. So many of you recognize the problems that we have together addressed, and I'm so appreciative of that. I also recognize what we were able to do together in terms of reindustrialization, if you will, of Moraine and the Miami Valley. I know some people think that manufacturing's sort of passé. We should just give up on it and move forward. I think most of you don't think that. I think that sometimes our policymakers in the East Coast and the West Coast forget about that in the heartland and how important it is. Manufacturing, as I think you know, creates a strong middle class. Ohio is the third leading manufacturing state in the country. Only California, three times our population, and Texas, twice our population, produce more than we do. We know what that means for the wealth of this community. And that's why, in many ways, when I took office in 2007, I realized fairly quickly from the roundtables that we convene, we've done some 200 of them in the state. Many of them have been in the Miami Valley, with from agriculture to manufacturing to small business to the National Composite Center and all kinds of other things. But we've realized, and that the DDC has helped on, we've realized with these roundtables how the job of senator, in a sense, is much more than voting on amendments and writing legislation. A big part of it is convening people. I remember my first year in office, a gentleman from North American Airbus came to see me. And he said, Ohio is our most important state. I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, we buy, North American Airbus buys $10 billion of components in the United States, shipping them to France and Germany for airplane assembly, $10 billion worth of components in the US. He said $4.2 billion of that is from one state, Ohio. That, in the Southwest Ohio, that we're an aerospace state. Many in this state don't know that. Many in this state don't really think through what that whole supply chain means to Airbus, what it means to Boeing, what it means to GE, what it means to a whole bunch of manufacturing concerns that produce national security and transportation and other kinds of goods that are so important in our society. And that's why sometime after that meeting, understanding that someday Airbus will probably assemble airplanes in the United States, why would they do it any place other than somewhere close to the critical mass of their supply chain? And it's why we put together one in Dayton at the National Composite Center, one in Columbus with Battelle and Edison Welding Institute in Ohio State, and one in Cleveland with Parker Hannifin, put together procurement conferences attended by some 1,200 small business people that want to sell into the Airbus supply chain. Those are the kinds of things that my office can do working with you. So sometimes it's legislation, including today when we stopped at Harco and talked about what we need to do on the China currency legislation. It passed the Senate with Senator Portman's support. It was my legislation. It was very bipartisan, 62, 63 votes, the largest bipartisan jobs bill that's passed the Senate this year to stop the Chinese from gaming the currency system. We hope that it's scheduled for a House vote fairly soon, because if it is, we'll be able to, I think the president will sign it. It also means from these roundtables, what we do with SBIR. I know SBIR has meant a lot to many people in this community, small businesses like Mound Laser and Photonics Center on Miamisburg, Spectral Energies in Dayton, companies like Nina Joshi's UES in the Miami Valley. All of those companies have benefited from SBIR. We were able, in large part because of what I learned talking to people through DDC, how important that is to this community. At the same time, one of the other things that grew out of these roundtables and working with Congressman Hobson in the past is what we were able to do at the mound. When the cleanup of the mound had stopped, as you know, we were able to sort of re-begin it, again with with local congressional support and the mayor of Miamisburg and others, to get the mound, to get the federal government back engaged in the mound, DOE and DOD, to make sure that that cleanup continued and was finished. Tens of millions of federal dollars, but it was the responsibility of the federal government, frankly, to clean up what we had messed up over the generations. And now we're seeing kinds of clean energy businesses at the mound. All those things are part of that. I'm the first Democrat on the Senate Appropriations Committee from Ohio since 1897. It's a long time. I plan to use that committee and the subcommittees I'm on with everything I can do with DDC, especially with Right Pat. I plan to use that subcommittee and those subcommittees and that committee to continue to bring together and build the relationship among Ohio's, in some sense, three major federal installations: Wright-Patterson Air Force Base here, Battelle and Columbus, which isn't really quite a federal installation, but it sort of acts like one in terms of what it does with DOE, and what we do with and NASA in Cleveland. We're the only one of NASA's the only NASA facility. NASA Glenn's the only NASA facility north of the Mason-Dixon line. One of 10 facilities. It's the smallest now, but my goal is that it not be the smallest in the next 10 years. And my goal is that we find ways for NASA, Wright Pat, and Battelle to work together in a more synergistic way than we have in the past. So that's sort of my summary of kind of where we're going, what we can do together. I so appreciate the work, as I said, of the DDC. And one other brief story I wanted to tell. When GM, I mean, you all know what happened to the auto industry 2 years ago. I believe it was December of 08 when Moraine closed, December of 08 or not, December of 08 when Moraine closed. A GM stamping plant that sent stamped fenders and all to Moraine closed soon after from my hometown of Mansfield because of the relationship between those two plants. And we've seen what's happened with these huge buildings around the country that used to be part of the auto industry. A couple of things, many things have happened since. One, in the last 6 months, we have seen announcements from Honda in Ohio, in Marysville, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, all announcements of announcing that statements announcing several $100 million new investments of each of those four companies, all in Ohio. Harco, Moraine's not here anymore, but Harco is, and a whole lot of plants are in that supply chain that that will benefit from that, and what we were able to do with Moraine. And this is something that Dayton, Ohio can teach the whole United States of America. You know, when Moraine closed, that the federal government, after the government rescue of the auto industry, you know that Moraine was owned by the federal government, the administrative trust. Administrative trust had a fiduciary responsibility to dispose of that for and get taxpayer dollars for it. They had two choices. They could either have sold the Moraine plant to a developer that would scrap it and sell and knock it down and make a whole lot of money from selling it for scrap, or they had another fiduciary responsibility, get as many dollars back for taxpayers, and look at the whole idea of how do you reuse this for the community. We're able, in some sense, to straight arm the developer who wanted to knock it down and sell it for scrap, and instead found a developer who wanted to reindustrialize the plant of Moraine. It won't be anything close to 19,000 jobs, which I believe it was when it was Frigidaire. Somebody can correct me on that. But it certainly will be over time, and City Manager Hicks, I was talking to earlier today out at Harco, talked to us about you're getting lots of people coming through now who want to reindustrialize. Well, manufacturing's not nearly the solution to all our problems. I mean, look at what you have here with Sinclair. Look what you have with your hospital systems. Look what you have with the VA. Look what you have with so much in this community with in education and healthcare and small businesses. But we do know that manufacturing is a major part of it. We know the Miami Valley has been one of the leading manufacturing centers, increasingly high-tech leading manufacturing centers in the United States of America. It's up to us at the Dayton Development Coalition. It's up to us as your partners in the federal government to work together to make that more of a reality. So I thank you. I will see you, many of you individually between now and then. The rest of you I hope to see at the fly-in next year. Thank you. Thanks.
Senator Brown, thank you very much for all that you do for our region, our state, and in advocating for the nation as well. We all know that Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is the lifeblood of the Dayton region and our economy. And as part of the federal government, we work with our congressional delegation to make sure that the base is supported. We just heard from Senator Brown, who's half of our Senate team, and the other half is Senator Rob Portman. Senator Portman is serving his first term and has already established a record of support for the region, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and our broader aerospace vision. Another very important member of our delegation is House Speaker John Boehner, who often works behind the scenes in the interests of the base and of our community. We're pleased to have two House members here today from our delegation. When you put together a team that can work in a bipartisan way between both the Senate and the House, it creates really a very rare and effective effort. Congressman Steve Austria is currently serving his second term in the 7th District. Congressman Austria is a member of the House Appropriation Committee, which oversees all discretionary funding, including funding for Wright-Pat. He serves on the appropriations subcommittees, which fund construction projects on the base, the BRAC account, the Dayton VA Medical Center, and NASA. This past year, Congressman Austria used his position to increase discretionary accounts, which could fund important programs at Wright-Pat and Wright State University's National Center for Medical Readiness. He's also worked with local businesses to increase the amount of defense spending that occurs right here in our region. He's very passionate about the local spend. And so, Congressman, we know, most of us know that you're retiring at the end of this term, and we simply want to thank you for your dedicated service for our region and our country. Congressman Mike Turner is now in his 5th term representing the 3rd District. He's a member of the House Armed Services Committee, which writes most of the laws that affect Wright-Patterson. He's chairman of the Armed Services Subcommittee on Strategic Forces, which oversees Wright-Pat's National Air and Space Intelligence Center, NASIC. He's also a senior member of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, where he serves on the National Security, Homeland Defense, and Foreign Operations Subcommittee. This year, among his achievements, Congressman Turner was able to add to the defense bill a very important provision that will help the Dayton region become a test center for unmanned aerial systems, a very strategic add for us. He also included provisions to help AFIT and to speed up the hiring of scientists for AFRL. Congressman Turner, thank you for all you do in representing our region. If you would, please join me in thanking our entire federal congressional delegation. It's also my pleasure to recognize a number of distinguished visitors with us here today. It would take our entire time together to introduce all the VIPs, but please bear with me and I'll limit my introductions to just a few. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I'd like to recognize representatives of our federal elected officials who support the Dayton region but were unable to be here today with us. From Senator Rob Portman's office, Terry Geiger, Connie Logg, and Kevin Hoggett. From the Speaker's office, Speaker John Boehner, Michael Fulcher, and key leaders from our regional defense installation. We have Joe Shabika, Executive Director of AFRL, Jerry Freisteller, Executive Director of ASC, Jack Blackhurst, Director of the Human Effectiveness Directorate, and Mr. Randy Parker, Vice Director of the 88th Air Base Wing. Oh, thank you. You can applaud. Also here today are many representatives from our State General Assembly, our regional counties that make up the region, and the cities, villages, and townships that make up the region. If you would, I'd like to ask all of our local elected officials to please stand so that we can recognize you. To the many city managers, university presidents, business leaders, regional advocates, and community leaders here this afternoon, thank you for your commitment to the Dayton region. This is our hometown, right? I'd like to personally thank my fellow board members as well as the coalition members who contributed to the successes of 2011. Your generous support enables the coalition to pursue and execute its mission. And finally, I want to give a very special thanks to our annual meeting sponsors. Our lead sponsors are Northrop Grumman Information Systems and PNC. I think you can see the other supporting sponsors represented in your program and on the screen. Please join me in thanking them. And so now for the business at hand, we're pleased to have with us today some of the senior leaders from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Wright-Patterson, as you know, is an economic juggernaut for the Dayton region with an annual economic impact of over $5 billion. As Ohio's largest single-site employer, with being the home to more than 27,000 employees who help selflessly serve our country. Also located behind the fence is the headquarters Air Force Materiel Command that employs more than 85,000 across the globe with an annual budget of more than $60 billion. General Hoffman is the commander of the Air Force Materiel Command, and we're pleased that he's going to join us today and offer a few comments. So please join me in welcoming General Hoffman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Mic coming up? It's up? Okay, good. My pleasure to be here, Congressman Austria. Nice to see you again. Congressman Turner, happy birthday, by the way. Snuck that in. Air Force Materiel Command has multiple bases, but this is our headquarters, and it's our largest personnel population in the command. And as Wright-Patterson goes, AFMC goes. And it's been a successful year for the command. And much of that is attributable, I think, to the work of the Dayton Development Corporation. If you look at some of the major events we've had over the last year, we've had Corona Top with all the Air Force senior leaders here. We had a record-setting number attend the Air Force Marathon. We had the tattoo. We had numerous other events recognizing the airmen from the base, their deployment sacrifice, and the families' challenges while they're gone. And I just want to say thank you for all that you've done over the years, but especially in 2011 for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and the families of the people that work there. This is our home, and you make it a very comfortable and warm relationship that we have in the community to enable the success as we do the national mission of national security. 11 was a challenge. Looking forward into the future will be a challenge. For 12, we now have a budget. 3 months late, but we have a budget. And that roadmap that we have for 12 is becoming clearer now that we have the budget. In November, we made an announcement about how many positions, civilian workforce positions, would have to go away during 12. That was step one. Step two happened today. We made another personnel announcement. That's the rest of the picture for where we're going to take those positions. The money was gone at the start of the fiscal year. We still have people in those positions, so we're carrying financial risk there as we work the numbers down over the rest of the year through voluntary means, first of all, and if necessary, toward the end of the year, we might have to do non-voluntary means. But so far, we're tracking to get to the numbers we need with voluntary procedures, with hiring controls and so forth. The net impact on Wright-Patterson and the number that's out now today, from what we announced in November to what we announced today, is a minus 234 positions for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Across the command, it's a net decrease of 1,000 positions. Part of that is the reorganization of the command, and we're going to execute that in the coming months here, where we're going from 12 centers doing the business of the command down to 5 centers. Wright-Patterson will be the home to a couple of those centers. The Air Force Research Lab is here and relatively unchanged before and after. But Aeronautical Systems Center will go away. And in its place will be a life cycle management center, which will not only do the business of acquisition here at Wright-Patterson, but will also have oversight of the acquisition business at Hanscom Air Force Base, Eglin Air Force Base, and the 3 depots where there's acquisition activities. Those acquisition entities will be managed by the Life Cycle Management Center here. So we're going through that challenge. In a couple weeks, the President will unveil the FY13 budget, and in that budget will be additional changes driven by the fiscal realities that we face and nearly $500 billion that are coming out of the defense budget over the next couple of years. The leading elements of that will be displayed when the budget comes out. That will impact what acquisition programs we pursue or don't pursue, and what force structure changes and reductions result from that fiscal reality. It does not yet address what might happen from the Budget Control Act and what additional challenges we may have from that. We're awaiting guidance from that from OMB and what the application of that sequester mechanism would hold for the Department of Defense. So a lot of challenges ahead. We will ride through these challenges. People ask me what keeps me up at night. I say I usually sleep pretty good at night because I know that I am serving in the best Air Force in the world. And America can be proud of that. And I will say whatever budget downs and further downs or ups, whatever may happen, I know we will still have the best Air Force in the world. It may be smaller. It may not be able to go anywhere in the world with the speed and the mass that we have today, but it'll still be the best Air Force in the world because America's families donate their sons and daughters to us to work for the Air Force, and we get quality individuals in the communities that surround our base and enable our activities, give us unlimited support, unprecedented support. So we will remain the best, and I want to thank the Dayton Development Corporation and indeed the whole Miami Valley for allowing Wright-Patterson to be successful, allowing this command to be successful, and in turn, allowing the Air Force to be successful. Thank you.
Over the last decade, federal agencies have invested $731 million in Ohio small businesses through the Small Business Innovative Research and Small Business Technology Transfer Contracts. In addition, the Air Force Research Laboratory's research and development budget is nearly twice the R&D investment made by all Ohio academic and public institutions and is equivalent to the R&D expenditures of New York or Texas public institutions. Pretty impressive. These opportunities, along with the other unique missions at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, have created a network of commercial talent ready and willing to support the defense industry.
Wright-Pat is critical to our business because Wright-Pat is the home of several organizations that provide global support for the United States Air Force. It's almost like having several major corporations on one platform. It is a very vital resource for companies like ours. It's been a good fit for me because I saw the opportunity to provide solution sets to Wright-Patterson that would bring, drive value. I also have been working diligently to leverage some of those solution sets and move some of those solution sets into the private sector as well. This business is a very competitive business. We have also experienced very turbulent economic times, and we continue to innovate, create, and sharpen our pencils so we're more competitive. I think it's very important for the coalition to continue to be an advocate, to work with our legislators to ensure that we protect that asset.
As is customary at the annual meeting, we like to update the region on our board. First, I'd like to thank the following members who will be leaving the board for their service to this organization and the region. Peter Haley, Managing Partner for Gossiger, David Kinsel, President of Dayton Children's Medical Center, and John Garland, President of Central State University. Please join me in thanking Pete, David, and John for their service, and also in congratulating David and John on their upcoming retirements. For 2012, we will be adding new board members, and we are extremely pleased to say they've agreed to serve. This year's class of new members includes Colleen Ryan, President of Vectren Energy Delivery of Ohio, Vic Bono, President of Electrical Power Systems for GE Aviation, and Pamela Morris, President and CEO of CareSource. Also, Mark Thompson, President of LJB, who spoke earlier, will be joining the Executive Committee. Please join me in welcoming our incoming board and Executive Committee members. A few words about our coalition chair. We have a lot of appreciation for Bruce. You may know Bruce because of his top executive position at Teradata. Bruce Langos also serves as president of the board of the Humane Society. You may know him because of his role on the Third Frontier Commission. Or you may know him because of his Wikipedia page. I kid you not, Bruce has his own Wikipedia page. I'm getting one of those. You may know him from his hours and hours of passionate service to the coalition, where he strives to make sure the coalition is meaningful and accountable. Please thank Bruce Langos for his service, and if you see him later today, please make sure you express your appreciation for all he does for us in the region. Bruce is a little shy, you know. Every year, I have a special honor tonight. Every year, the coalition recognizes an individual whose efforts inspire us, yet whose contribution is immeasurable. This year, we've chosen to honor a volunteer leader that has served this region for decades, Dr. Benjamin Schuster. Dr. Schuster's contributions to the Dayton region extend far beyond this incredible performing arts center. His devotion to medicine, the arts, the city of Dayton, and our community at large is well known. You may not know that Dr. Schuster hails from a Wisconsin orphanage and served in the U.S. Army. But we all know that Dr. Schuster went on to earn his medical degree and build his life around patience, service, duty, and love for his wife, Marion, his children, and his grandchildren. Dr. Schuster has been called the father of cardiology, but we have come to know him as the heart of our community. True heroism is very undramatic. It is not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost. By that measure, Dr. Schuster is one of our greatest heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in presenting this commemorative sculpture to Dr. Schuster and in thanking our honored and distinguished friend, Ben, who has, for the benefit of us all, changed the Dayton skyline forever.
Very much, Beverly. I think I'm truly overcome by emotions at this signal honor.
One second. Do we have a microphone for Dr. Schuster? Is it on?
Okay.
Ah, thank you. I'm going to
Okay.
move you up just a little further so people
All right. I am truly overcome by this honor and the emotion of the moment. Whatever I've done in my lifetime, whatever I've given, I've always received more in return. And that's the essence of true charity. Perhaps it was my roots growing up, taking care of others, being a physician, a cardiologist for over 30 years before the opportunity presented itself to help build this lovely performing arts center in Dayton, which was sorely needed. So as the years have gone by, I've taken great pleasure in seeing what it has done to the community, to molding the cultural fabric of Dayton and its surrounding areas. And so I feel very blessed. And again, I come from a background where the credo is to help others, which is what we've tried to do in the community. So again, Beverly, I want to thank you very much for this honor. I truly appreciate it, and I hope that as the years go by, I can do more for the community. Thank you.
As you know, our members are critical partners that make the work that we're reporting tonight possible. This year, we had another successful campaign, membership campaign, with a number of volunteers. Marty Grunder led the board team, and Julie Torelli led the volunteer at large team. I want to thank them for their help, and we added 30 new coalition members. AAA Allied Group has again supported our volunteer efforts. Ray Keaton is the president and CEO and has graciously provided us a 7-day Caribbean cruise, including airfare to one of the volunteers who actively contributed to the campaign. Ray, can you please stand and be recognized? And I am pleased to present the winner. It's Corey Earl from the Dayton Business Journal. Thank you all for your support.
For the last 7 years, investment by our members has enabled the coalition to both lead and support collaborative efforts that have delivered results. Whether it was investing in startup companies or supporting our local economic development partners, deliver business recruitment successes, or leading initiatives to strengthen our defense installations, the Dayton region has much to celebrate. For every $1 that has been invested in the coalition, $129 in prosperity have been returned. In fact, for every $1,000, one job has been created, more than $67,000 of prosperity growth has been generated, and more than $84,000 in state or federal funding has been invested in the region. Results as significant as these are only possible through coordinated team effort. Also, as a result of the dedicated efforts of the entire region of stakeholders, the Dayton region saw positive net job growth in 2011. Contributing to that growth were our 13 county economic development professionals, local elected and appointed officials, the chambers of commerce, academic leaders, community stakeholders, the Entrepreneurial Development Program, the state of Ohio, and the region's key partners. In 2011, more than 40 recruitment, retention, and expansion projects stimulated economic development across the region, creating more than 2,600 jobs, $270 million in capital investment, and 1.2 million square feet in commercial real estate. This growth only represents projects submitted to the state of Ohio. Overall, our strategic industries created more than 4,000 new jobs in 2011. Not only have our business recruitment professionals been busy, the Dayton Region Entrepreneurial Signature Program is a key initiative of the Dayton Development Coalition strategy to grow the region. With over 60 startup businesses in the program portfolio, since its inception in September 2007, ESP is making a significant difference in growing the Dayton region's strategic industries.
Renegade Materials is a prepreg company, and what prepreg is you take polymer resin and you put it on carbon fabric or glass fabric, and then we sell those materials to the aerospace industry, and then they make parts out of it. The way Renegade started is we had a team of experts and a vision, and what we did is we used ESP money to help us bridge the gap between startup and qualification. And I'm happy to report we now have 3 or 4 materials qualified, for example, on the Joint Strike Fighter and other commercial aircraft. We've created this prepreg platform technology in the state of Ohio, which never existed before. All the prepreg companies in the United States are either on the East Coast or they're out on the West Coast in California. And to have the talent pool here in Dayton, as well as advocates like the DDC, you have a better chance of success in this region than other parts of the country.
ESP companies like Renegade have been growing and expanding, creating high-skilled, high-wage jobs. In fact, if the ESP program was a single company considering relocation to Dayton, it would be eligible for state incentives anywhere between $7.5 million and $14 million. Yet to date, only $6.5 million in non-reimbursable funding has been invested in ESP companies. Jobs are only a successful byproduct of the ESP. Investment successes are measured by the state of Ohio by how much outside market validation ESP companies receive. This market validation can come in many forms: product sales, contracts or grants from the federal government, or outside commercial investment. In 2011, the Dayton Region ESP broke the $100 million mark for outside validation. For every $1 of ESP investment and development services, $10 in market validation has been realized. This is a testament to the quality of the technology companies in our region and the strong market demand for their products. Not only are the investments paying off, the program itself has been extremely efficient. Expenditures on overhead and entrepreneurial programs delivered $23 in market validation for every dollar spent. These expenditures have included an accelerated outreach program to expand industry cluster growth in the core areas of Montgomery and Greene counties, enhancing new or expanding concentrations in Preble, Clark, and Warren counties. These highlights today merely scratch the surface of the work accomplished in 2011. In some cases, the coalition has led the effort, and in others, played a supporting role to initiatives led by partners. Whether leading or supporting, success would not have been possible without the efforts of the entire team.
Well, the Dayton region is certainly an aerospace powerhouse within the state and across the country. You know, the concentration of capabilities, resources, assets, and expertise here are unmatched. Our regional efforts have aligned with statewide goals, and we are excited about the partnerships that have been forged, particularly with our regional unmanned aeronautical systems strategies. We have found a champion in that cause in Ohio's Adjutant General, Major General Deborah Ashenhurst. General Ashenhurst is a member of the Governor's Cabinet and is responsible for more than 16,000 personnel, the command of the Ohio National Guard, and the military readiness of the Ohio Military Reserve and Naval Militia. She also oversees the day-to-day operation and management of the fiscal, personnel, equipment, and real property resources of these military organizations and state agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to present Major General Deborah Ashenhurst.
Thanks, Joe. It's a great honor to be here, and nobody was kidding me when they said how many people came here. This is great. I'm glad there are lights. I really can't see. So you're probably wondering what the Adjutant General has to do with unmanned aerial systems. Well, I'll try to shed a little light on that for you. If you haven't heard, our governor feels pretty strongly that the Dayton region should become a center for unmanned aerial systems. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but that means research, development, education, testing, anything and everything having to do with unmanned aerial systems, or unmanned aircraft, as they want us to think of it. Well, I work for the governor, and I'm positioned to help him with that vision. And I have a responsibility to the governor in regards to Homeland Security, Homeland Support, and the National Guard has to be prepared to support the citizens of Ohio anytime there is any sort of an event in Ohio that may deal with disasters or Homeland Security or Homeland Defense. So recent developments in unmanned aerial systems and sensor technology has opened a new door for supporting disastrous situations that would normally put humans at risk. So the ability to fly unmanned aircraft will allow us to provide a safety and security in new ways that we've, prior to this, had not had the opportunity to use. So thus, I have a vested interest in bringing this capability to Ohio. Naturally, to be a center for unmanned aerial systems, or UAS, we need the ability to fly unmanned aircraft in Ohio. So the integration of unmanned aerial systems into the national airspace requires the approval of the Federal Aviation Administration. And at this time, the FAA is figuring out how to keep this airspace safe for manned aircraft as unmanned systems are introduced. Well, we, Ohio, and the Dayton region in particular, want to be as good of a partner with the FAA as we can as they work this issue. And to fly unmanned aircraft in areas that are designated as restricted aircraft, it's okay. But if you want to fly in areas that are not designated as restricted, then we must apply for and receive a certificate of authorization from the FAA. Now, this request has to be very specific, detailing what aircraft, who's going to fly it, where they're going to fly it, how they're going to fly it. And since we don't have restricted airspace here in Central Ohio, we must obtain these certifications or these certificates of authorization for any and every unmanned aircraft that we want to fly here. Well, as the Adjutant General of the Ohio National Guard, I have a need for some of our Army National Guard to train and learn to use an unmanned aircraft called a Raven. It's a small system, but we need to get experience in handling this system so that they can use them in combat and in the theater of war. So my mind is always focused on my mission for the governor as well, and I see great applications for these small unmanned aircraft that my Army units have, also in my role here to the citizens of Ohio and the disaster situations that we could at some time face. There's a multitude of applications, as you're hearing about in the news on a regular basis. So we are pursuing a certificate of authorization to fly these unmanned Ravens, they're called, here in Ohio to support the training needs of the Ohio Army National Guard. I know you probably never thought of it. You think of the Air Force when you think of aircraft. But the idea here is that the Adjutant General's Department, we could become the experts on how to write these certificates of authorizations and how we can be a sort of a clearinghouse for these COAs or certificates of authorizations for all the organizations that want to fly them here for our ventures into research and testing and technology. So we'll learn how to dot the I's and cross the T's to get these authorizations approved so that we can partner with industry and academia to further development of the technologies and processes that can assist us in our pursuits for this center of UASs here. Now, I don't want you to be confused because you know we have this new mission over at the Springfield Air Base with the 178th flying unmanned Predators, but those aren't flown here in the United States, so we don't need that certificate of authorization to fly those because we're not going to put them in the airspace here over Ohio, so I don't want to confuse the issue with what we're doing in our Air Guard over there. So, but what we do want to do is when the FAA receives a request for a certificate of authorization to fly an unmanned aircraft in Ohio, we want them to know that that's been vetted and that's been integrated and it's part of the overall overarching center that we're putting here in Ohio so that they really do start to see us as a center for UASs. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight into why my role is being used in obtaining this critical and new technologies that we're having. So thanks for the few minutes.
That's an immense partnership. That's an immense partnership. Thank you, General Ashenhurst. You know, the Dayton region considers the Ohio Guard mission and requirements critical components of our national defense. And I'll tell you, we're really thankful for your service, General Ashenhurst, and the service of all the men and women of the Ohio National Guard. You know, when the 2005 Defense Base Closure and Realignment Commission handed down a decision to move more than 1,000 jobs to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the community's excitement was tempered with the realization that, you know, historically, the percentage of workers who relocated with their job was about 10%. Now, it's more than a matter of local pride. The workers involved in this move were specialized scientists, doctors, engineers, whose skills were necessary to the success of these national defense missions that were coming to Dayton. A remarkable 36% of the Air Force Research Laboratory civilians agreed to come here to Dayton, despite the strong opportunities they had for other Defense Department and research jobs in San Antonio and Mesa. Let's take a look at this with Mr. Tom Wells.
This installation plays a vital role in securing basically our ability to operate in the international environment, and the Air Force's role is air supremacy, and being able to kind of be the agile first in, being able to respond immediately, rapidly, global mobility, all that mission. That's all enabled by what happens here at Wright-Pat. BRAC 2005 had two objectives: consolidate activities to create efficiency and save money, and also bring together joint service activities to enable more collaboration and greater efficiency by sharing of resources and working together. What made BRAC successful was Wright-Pat had an awful lot to offer to begin with. So when the commission started looking around about, where should we put activities to generate the greatest synergy, Right Pat was already so strong in its capabilities that it was very competitive in that process. Retaining our workforce as we transitioned, getting people to make the move from Texas or Arizona to Ohio was very important to our success, to be able to reconstitute and continue operations once we settled here in Ohio. And so we were doing everything we could to persuade people that, hey, you know, Ohio's a nice place to live. And you know, the way the local community supported that, you know, is facilitated by the Dayton Development Coalition through the Meet the Community events and the community partner events, was just phenomenal. We couldn't do anything about people in San Antonio and Arizona are thinking about, oh, it's cold in Dayton, you know. But we could take the uncertainty out about the support that would be available to them when they came.
Good. Our keynote speaker this evening is a success story from right here in the Dayton region. Marty Grunder started a landscaping business to make money while he was attending the University of Dayton. His company grossed over $300,000 and earned national media attention early on. In recognition of his accomplishments, Marty was named the Young Entrepreneur of the Year in the Midwest and in the state of Ohio by the U.S. Small Business Administration. He is also the recipient of the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. His landscaping company has won numerous national awards as well, including the Better Business Bureau's prestigious Eclipse Integrity Award. Marty is also an author and a noted authority on leadership, team building, sales and marketing, and personal and business success. He's been inspiring audiences across the United States and Canada with his practical advice and creative ideas since 1995. Yet he has spoken to only small groups in the Dayton region and has never had the opportunity to speak to so many stakeholders from this area before. George Orwell once said, "To see what is in front of one's nose remains a constant struggle." It's a good message for us here in the Dayton region. If we find ourselves looking beyond the region for talent or for new ideas, then we need to look in front of our own noses as well first. Tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce this untapped talent. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Marty Grunder.
The Dayton Development Coalition is a very efficient organization. You give Jeff $1, and man, can Jeff and his team put that to work. But maybe more importantly, the Dayton Development Coalition is an effective organization as they are working on the right things. Being efficient at things that really don't have an impact is not time well spent. We've heard the highlights of 2011 today, and we should be proud and grateful that we have a hard-working organization like the DDC working on behalf of the entire Dayton region. But there is much more work left to be done, and we need your help. More importantly, the entire Dayton region needs your help. There are over 1,000 folks in the Schuster Center this afternoon, and we thank you for coming. Over 300 folks make up the Dayton Development Coalition, 300 members, and you know the value of getting involved in putting your capital at risk to make a better life. A better life for the Dayton region and for our families. My mom is a lifelong Daytonian. As a matter of fact, she grew up in the city of Dayton. I get a lot of my enthusiasm from her, which is a good and a bad thing. One year for my birthday, she was excited to hand me a small box that was wrapped up very neatly. As she was beaming with pride as I opened it, I could tell she was really excited about this gift. I pulled a decorative tin cup out of this gift box, and inscribed on it were these words: "If you don't want to work, you have to earn enough money so you don't have to work." Ogden Nash. Now, I must tell you, I'm not a very smart person. I'm just going to be honest with you. So my wonderful mother had to tell me who the heck Ogden Nash even was. Well, he's a poet, a famous one, apparently. I acted excited to receive this beautiful tin cup, even though I thought those words were rather silly. My mom could have given me Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl tickets and I would have acted happy, okay? That night, as I celebrated the rest of my birthday and watched my 4 kids run around the house — I have 4 kids at home, they're all boys except for 3. I
I reflected on how lucky I was to have people that loved me. I looked at all 4 of them and realized I had a lot to pay for in the coming years. I thought about all the things I wanted to do for my family. I thought about all the other passions I have and how much I truly love Dayton, Ohio. And I looked at that cup again, ladies and gentlemen, and those words that seemed so silly a couple moments ago seem very prophetic to me. If you don't want to work, you have to earn enough money so you don't have to work. You know, my mom's brilliant, and so's Ogden Nash. Those are great words, words to live by. Ladies and gentlemen, our businesses, the places we work, are a conduit. They carry us through life. Simply put, we need to work to earn money so one day we can retire and enjoy this wonderful community that we live in. And we need to have some fun. So as long as we're going to have some fun, let's call home Dayton, Ohio. But we can only have a great place to live if we all work together and continue to make this place the place that I heard Clay Mathill refer to as one of the most livable cities in America. So today, I'm here as a cheerleader, as a business owner, as a father, a husband, a friend, and as a member of the board of the Dayton Development Coalition to tell you we can, with your help, make a difference, but you have to get involved. I want to ask you today to not wait for things to happen, to go make them happen. Our region needs your help. Look, the Dayton Development Coalition is not just about Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Oh, sure, we're focused on them. We have to be. They're 1/7 of our GNP, okay? In fact, I think at times we even take them for granted. But it's important that we support them and the entire region to make this a vibrant, innovative place to call home. There are countless other small businesses that make a huge impact in our area. Many of you have never even heard of some of these businesses. There's Projects Unlimited, an incredible $50 million a year organization situated north of Dayton here that employs a couple hundred folks or so helping helicopters. Bell Helicopters is one of their customers, making parts for them. They're an unbelievable company. They joined the Dayton Development Coalition after David and Chris Wise found out what the DDC was truly all about. Then there's the Yule Agency, a small 10-person insurance outfit that's a member. And also there's Cargill, the large operation up on Needmore Road that recently joined the coalition when they saw the good things that we were doing. All 3 of these companies provide different services and employ people who in turn spend money at small and big businesses all over the region. They made a decision to get involved and make a difference. They're on the team. Here's the bottom line. I don't think anyone will argue with me that the Dayton region has a lot to offer. We have wonderful universities. We have affordable housing, something we don't talk enough about. We have water. We have some real gems in the Dayton Dragons, the Schuster Center, Cox Arboretum, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, great shopping, Aileron. And as a frequent traveler, I love that little airport. New York City, folks that come here, they love that place. But we do have a problem as well. Not enough of you are involved. So today, January the 11th, 2012, I'm here to issue all of you a challenge. Whether you're a Wright State fan, a UD fan, black, white, religious, agnostic, tall, short, a banker, a teacher, a CEO, a manager, a line worker, or even if you're in between jobs right now, we all need to root for the Dayton region. We all need to work together. We need to keep trying to find new and better ways to make Dayton, Ohio the most livable city in America. We need for CEOs of other companies to look at Dayton as the perfect place to start, move, or expand a business, and we need the current CEOs to help us. Outsiders need to feel our spirit and our energy. It's not okay to sit back anymore. We can make a difference. I know we can. I believe I am making a difference. My small company employs about 50 people, and while I felt a little over my head when I joined the DDC, I really feel like I'm making a difference now, and you can do the same. The Dayton region has a long history of successful people, innovators. We have the Wright brothers, John Henry Patterson, Josephine Schwartz, Paul Lawrence Dunbar, and Charles Kettering. Recently, we had Clay Mathill. The list goes on, ladies and gentlemen. We have had people who took small ideas and did something incredible with them. But we need more of these people to surface in Dayton, and we have to get to work showing everyone the Dayton region is still a place of innovation. Think about what you can do. We have to get involved. When you do nothing, what happens? Nothing. The Dayton Development Coalition needs you, or if that's not in the cards, then at least get involved. Post good news about the Dayton Region on your social media accounts. Write a letter to the paper or a national publication talking about the good things that go on in Dayton. Come out and support various events. Volunteer. Mentor a young person and try to get them to stay in Dayton, Ohio. But not everything takes money. Time is just as important. Oh, sure. Or if you're not so sure what you can do, call me. I've got plenty of things that you can help with in the Dayton region. For starters, how about making your business better? That's one of the best things we can do, to be committed in excellence in all that you do. Be a positive person. Believe that things can and will get better. Avoid people who say otherwise. Be a leader and understand that means that sometimes you'll be asked to follow as well. It's hard for us to follow at times. I know that. My ego keeps me from following people sometimes too. But if we work together and we do what's best for everyone, we will win. My business reached new heights when I started making decisions based on what was best for everyone in my company versus what was best for me. It's tough to do, but it works. Let's wrap this up with one more story. I spoke of Charles Kettering. I told you that he was one of the innovators in the Dayton region from the years gone by. He certainly left his mark on us. But I wonder if all of you really know what kind of a guy he was. He was one determined man, I will tell you that. He overcame adversity in his life and was a beacon of hope for the entire Dayton region for many years, and one could say that he still is one today. I'm a big fan. At his old office in Dayton Engineering Laboratories Corporation, or Delco, which today is known as Delphi, right up the street, Kettering would often tell his secretary to inform unwanted visitors that he had died. I do that all the time at Grunder Landscaping Company. It works like a champ. Shortly after Delco was acquired by General Motors in 1919, Kettering became irate when his group of engineers who thought they could calculate the point at which improvement in any process, they couldn't improve it anymore. He thought that these engineers thought they knew the point there. Now hold on to your seats right now. In 1919, it took 37 stinking days to paint an automobile because the paint wouldn't dry. The engineers thought they could get it down to 30 days, but certainly no less. At a meeting, Kettering said an hour is all it ought to take to paint an automobile. What, are you guys crazy? I mean, come on. And he went to work developing his own quick-drying paint, but the engineers there were still very skeptic. So he invited one of them to lunch and asked them to drive. They had a nice lunch, and when they returned to the parking lot approximately an hour and 5 minutes later, the young engineer was confused and embarrassed, and he admitted that he could not find his car. Isn't that your car? Kettering said, motioning to a nearby automobile. The young engineer said, that looks like mine, but mine isn't that color. To which Kettering proudly proclaimed, it is now. We can learn from Kettering's approach, folks, that sometimes things that no one else sees or believes in really are possible. And we can learn that you should never discount the impact that one person can make on a community. The way I see it, I just gave license to over 1,000 Daytonians to leave here and at least try. So I think we have to think about what could happen if we all work together in the next year. And let's dream for a moment that that happens. So now I think the question becomes, how will the leader you know you should be do the things you need to do? What's your game plan? Thank you.
Moving our region forward isn't in the hands of a select few. It will require the collaboration of many. We can continue to achieve greatness by working together
and using the resources available to us. Asking questions, getting involved in preparing our future generation are important
actions that can't wait for tomorrow. We have to prepare for what's next. Focus on where we're going, not where we've been. Our work is just getting started. Everyone has the choice
to get involved and take action, or sit on the sidelines and watch the plays be made. The tasks that lay before us require innovation and a team approach. Jump in
and make an impact in our region. Change is here. It's our responsibility to keep it going. The time is now to pull together and work as one.
In the Dayton region, we are reminded often of achievements of the Wright brothers, Charles Kettering, John Patterson, and the host of inventors that have changed the world from their workbenches in the Dayton region. These contributions are our legacy, but what matters tomorrow is not what we accomplished yesterday. What we should take away from history is inspiration to write our own chapter and the appreciation for the team of people supporting the headliners. Charlie Taylor, Catherine Wright, Edward Deeds, James and John Riddy. These names aren't as recognizable, but were critical collaborators that led to the success we talk so much about. The Dayton Development Coalition is more than its staff and board of trustees. A true coalition is an agreement between groups to cooperate. Each group may have their own strategies and plans, but they actively join forces for a common cause. Our common cause is the growth and prosperity of the Dayton region, and our coalition is made up of each of you here tonight. Our members, our local, state, and federal elected officials, every economic development organization in the region, academia, commercial enterprises, developers, entrepreneurs, the local media. It takes a team to accomplish the work that is set before us today. As we wrap up tonight, I wanted to take some time to outline the game plan that the coalition has in front of us. There are many exciting things happening in the region, but with that comes a lot of work and planning. Now more than ever before, we need a team of collaborators to come together if we're going to successfully execute the game plan. As we heard from General Hoffman earlier in the program, Wright-Patterson and the Air Force Materiel Command will have some challenges and opportunities in the future. Wright-Pat has had budget, workforce, and restructuring ups and downs over the past 6 decades. This community has always tried to respond to these challenges in a manner that respects the needs of the Air Force and creates opportunities for both the base and our economy, and we must continue to work constructively with the Air Force as a partner to identify innovative solutions together. This approach has earned national recognition and has resulted in recent BRAC successes we heard Tom Wells explain earlier. We achieved successes with the 2005 BRAC because our entire community worked together to advocate for Wright-Pat and turned a potential threat into an opportunity. This approach resulted in more than $350 million of new construction and more than 1,100 new jobs at the base and thousands of more outside the fence. Our partners behind the fence are integral to our strategic industry growth and economic vitality in the region and in the state. The state of Ohio has recognized this fact and has asked the coalition to implement a statewide program to strengthen the aerospace and defense industry for Dayton and the state of Ohio. This program demonstrated the state's confidence in this region's model for supporting our defense installations, and we're excited for the opportunity to increase our efforts around aerospace and defense. Our goal will be to promote regional and statewide industry strengths to major producers and suppliers in the aerospace supply chain and the federal government. This program is still in its early stages of implementation, but already it's connecting collaborative dots. SAIC chose to expand their operations in the Dayton region in 2011, bringing cutting-edge scientific engineering and system integration solutions to the area. Their expertise is already proving an asset to the region, and their team will be contracted to assist the program's UAS initiatives. In addition to this mission and industry support the coalition will focus on in 2012, we will continue to honor our servicemen and women, civilians, contractors, through the Hometown Heroes program, supporting AFMC's Freedom Call Tattoo, the U.S. Air Force Marathon, and other community outreach programs the region has participated in every year. Partnering with the Dayton Dragons for a 9th year, the coalition will host the Hometown Heroes program again in 2012, a season-long tribute to the men and women and families of Wright Pat and Springfield Air National Guard, who safeguard and support our nation's defense. Along with recognizing their sacrifices, we celebrate their ongoing contributions that shape the unique culture of the Dayton region, energize the local economy, enhance the quality of life in the Dayton region. This program is being considered for a White House Award through their Joining Forces program. The Dayton region is also proud to host the NCAA's First Four in March of 2012 and 2013. While our defense installations are a cornerstone of our economy, there are many more coalition initiatives and programs that are contributing to the growth and prosperity of the region. The region's strategic industries will account for the creation of nearly 8,000 jobs over the next 5 years. These are jobs with high wages and high job multipliers that will lead additional indirect jobs in our core infrastructure industries. General Ashenhurst provided great insights earlier to the state and regional UAS focus. Thank you again for being here, General. The national unmanned aerial system industry is by many factors the most dynamic growth sector in the aerospace and defense market. Industry projections estimate UAS expenditures to grow from $4.9 billion to $11.5 billion over the next 10 years. The U.S. is estimated to account for 76% of worldwide research, development, test, and evaluation expenditures. The coalition is focused on attracting UAV development companies, improving FAA approval rates for UAV test flights, and establishing an FAA testbed for UAS integration into the national airspace. Not only must we focus on the UAS industry, over the past decade, aerospace manufacturing grew by 32%, even while the automobile manufacturing declined by 78%. The Dayton region airspace supply chain is expected to continue to grow, while strongholds like Wichita, Seattle, Los Angeles are projected to lose thousands of jobs. These assets are critical components to aerospace production lines and aerospace business recruitment. Successful recruitment will add to the projected industry growth. While aerospace is an industry with seemingly endless opportunities, our other strategic industries present different opportunities. In 2012 and beyond, the coalition must try to anticipate the future industry demand, and the region must stay nimble enough to transform to meet that demand. As you all know, Jobs Ohio is off and running. The coalition was selected as the Jobs Ohio Western Region Network partner and will take advantage of our opportunity to expand our existing initiatives. This is just another grant the state has selected the DDC to administer, but we will need the region's economic development partners at all levels of local governments to make sure we are delivering the most effective incentive packages we can to our new and expanding businesses. It is critical that we engage developers who have invested in various sites throughout the region and are primed for development. One key strategy we plan to concentrate on is expanding commercialization. The region's research and development investments have created a network ripe for technology and development, but it's proven a tough nut to crack. We made some headway in 2011 to capitalize on our momentum and accelerate it. We will launch a new technology identification validation program, including new outreach to AFRL. These efforts, along with new ESP funds for developmental services and investment, 2012 should be a banner year for entrepreneur development. With all the work that must be accomplished, it will be critical that we continue to speak with one voice in Columbus and Washington, D.C. The Dayton Region Priority Development and Advocacy Committee process has undergone changes to broaden those procedures. The PDAC will remain a forum to discuss projects and their benefits to the community, but will be a flexible, one-size-fits-all process that can be used as a statement of community support for a project under many different circumstances, and thereby continuing the tradition of speaking with one voice for community priorities. In 2012, we will also finalize and submit a regional SEDS, or a comprehensive economic development strategy. This document will be a comprehensive plan for a multi-county region that will be a regional economic roadmap to diversify and strengthen our regional economy. The U.S. Economic Development Administration often requires these SEDS for grants and other funding opportunities. 2011 witnessed many successes and changes, and 2012 promises to be a busy and productive year. We will certainly face unknown challenges, but must remember that today's bad news could be tomorrow's opportunity. The region felt the loss of NCR in 2009, but the University of Dayton has benefited from the vacated facilities, and GE Aviation will be investing over $51 million in the old NCR campus to develop a state-of-the-art R&D center. It's easy to lose sight of the possibilities, but this coalition here today of stakeholders has a legacy of collaboration that cannot be denied, and we have a future full of opportunities that cannot be contained. This region has a lot of opportunities. A great foundation has been established and set up before me today. Ron Wine, JP Nassif, Jim Leftwich, thank you for setting up this great organization. I can only hope to continue the legacy that you all have delivered for this community and for this region. Thank you very much. To the DDC Coalition staff, you guys are awesome. A lot of work gets done that people don't even see, and they make our jobs easier. I know Ron, JP, and Lefty would concur. They're the ones that get it done. When you see them, thank them for all they do. To my board of trustees, thank you for your expertise, for your guidance, for your mentorship. Together, once again, we can do and accomplish some great things. And to the region, to the people that are here today, to those that aren't here today, by working together, we can accomplish some great things together. You know, the focus of today has been teamwork, it's been collaboration, and once again, by working together, we can accomplish some great things. Marty Grunder, you rocked it, buddy. Awesome job. Awesome job. Marty is a community leader that gives of his time. He expects nothing in return, wants nothing in return, and once again, he did it again today. Together, we can accomplish great things. It's hard work. It's not easy work. We're not always going to agree to get along with each other or on certain subject matters, but I think if we stay together as a coalition, you saw the definition up there before, if we stay together as a coalition, if we work hard, we will accomplish great things. Thanks for all you do. We'll see you in the Winter Garden. Good night. Thank you.